Welcome to Earth and Kind Quests. My name is Mike, and this video shares about improving the humanoids as non-player characters in Dungeons & Dragons. With the 2025 Monster Manual, humanoid creatures have become different than what many people might expect. I detect three major issues. First, many creatures intuitively feel like they should be humanoids, but instead they have been categorized differently, such as goblins, who now are fey creatures, kuo-toa, who now are aberrations, lizardfolk, who now are elementals, and gnolls, who now are fiends. Second, among the new versions of the official humanoid creatures, such as a bandit or a mage, the 2025 Monster Manual does not offer guidance about how to manage if the particular bandit or mage happens to be a human, a halfling, a dragonborn, or another kind of humanoid. Third, the official humanoids include some variations in their challenge ratings, such as a spy at challenge rating 1 and a spy master at challenge rating 10, yet most of us would want to create more variations of the challenge ratings. When considering these issues, I'd like to start with reminding myself about what a humanoid is intended to represent in Dungeons & Dragons. A humanoid represents one of the 14 possible creature types. In this case, part of the definition of a humanoid is that it is not an aberration, a beast, a celestial, or another non-humanoid creature type. A humanoid refers to a creature of a human or human-like shape. The classic humanoid characters could be not only humans, but also dwarfs, elves, gnomes, and others. Some creatures could look like humanoids, yet something in their ancestry or in their personal history has been influenced by a force outside the regular experience of people in the prime material plane. For instance, a humanoid-shaped demon or devil would be a fiend, not a humanoid. A skeleton or a zombie would be an undead, no longer a humanoid. In my understanding, the player characters should be humanoids, with just very few exceptions that I encourage to discuss in advance with your game master and with the other players in your group. In terms of the character behaviors and motivations, I advise against creating a character who could be incompatible with the other characters in your group and with the game setting overall. Additionally, some of the game mechanics give extra advantage to non-humanoids, such as when using a lower-level spell slot of a hold person against a humanoid versus a significantly higher-level spell slot of hold monster against a non-humanoid. An exception could be a creature such as a plasmoid in the Spelljammer content treated as an ooze and not as a humanoid. In the 2024 Player's Handbook, all of the playable character species are humanoids. Elves inherently are born with fey ancestry, yet they are considered to be humanoids instead of fey creatures. Dragonborn characters are humanoids instead of dragons. Likewise, ASMR characters descend from celestial ancestry, and tiefling characters descend from fiendish ancestry. Nonetheless, they all are treated as humanoids. They are not celestials, or fiends, or anything else. With this basic understanding about humanoids in Dungeons & Dragons, now a few complications emerge, especially noticeable with the new 2025 Monster Manual. In the previous game content, goblins were humanoids, but now goblins in the 2025 Monster Manual are fey creatures. Similarly, lizardfolk previously were humanoids, but now they are elementals. Kobolds previously were humanoids, but now they are dragons. You might be wondering, what can justify a goblin to be a fey creature while an elf with fey ancestry is a humanoid? What is the intention of a lizardfolk to be an elemental instead of a humanoid? How can a kobold be a dragon while a dragonborn is a humanoid? In one perspective, the goblins, lizardfolk, kobolds, and other creatures as player characters could be humanoids who somehow inherited or developed humanoid ancestry or traits. This perspective could imply that some elves are fey creatures, while the specific elves as player characters are humanoids for whatever reasons that might make sense in a game setting. I expect that we will see official guidance about playable characters as humanoids or not, probably in a forthcoming sourcebook with Dungeons & Dragons later in 2025 or perhaps in 2026. In another perspective, regardless of the official rules as written, you could interpret the creature types in whatever manner that will work for you. In your games, you can treat your goblins, lizardfolk, and kobolds as humanoids, regardless of what is shown in the 2025 Monster Manual. If you will decide to do something different from the new rules as written in the official sourcebook content, then of course I advise to consult with your group in advance. Dungeon masters can inform their groups that the characters might encounter goblins who are humanoids. When describing a creature, a dungeon master can clarify if it is a humanoid or else something different. Players can ask a dungeon master if a character can be a fey creature, a dragon, or a humanoid. In the 2025 Monster Manual, the options of humanoids are not presented as humans, halflings, orcs, or other species. When you do see a species, such as a goblin or a kobold, then the creature type no longer is a humanoid. With the new approach of the 2025 Monster Manual, the humanoids are presented in functional categories, such as types and subtypes of bandits, pirates, cultists, and others. In total, 45 humanoids are in the 2025 Monster Manual, including the different types and subtypes of these functional categories. The traits and features might not match with your expectations of the functional categories. For instance, you might create an encounter with bandits poised for a classic roadside ambush, but these bandits happen to use the statistics of pirates. Maybe one bandit is a type of a mage, a cultist, a berserker, or another functional category outside the bandit label. Among the 45 humanoids, the options account for most of the situations that involve humanoids in Dungeons & Dragons. I would caution, though, to imagine that sometimes a cultist might use the statistics of a priest, a bandit might use the statistics of a scout, or a noble might use the statistics of a vampire familiar. I would interpret that the humanoids could be any species or ancestry. Unfortunately, the 2025 Monster Manual does not provide guidance about how to adjust for a pirate who happens to be a dwarf, or for a performer who happens to be a dragonborn. Limited guidance was in the older 2014 Monster Manual, in Appendix B, about non-player characters. The advice was simple, offering that the species traits could be added without altering the challenge rating of a non-player character. This advice seems easy enough to implement, yet it meets a new complication with the power creep that has developed with the 2024 Player's Handbook and with the 2025 Monster Manual. According to the 2024 Player's Handbook, a human automatically gains a heroic inspiration after every long rest, proficiency in one skill, and one extra origin feat. These traits might be too powerful for commoners, yet perhaps some of these traits could be applied for a cultist, a warrior, or another humanoid with accomplishments beyond being a commoner, especially if this person happens to be at a higher challenge rating. Similar problems are evident with elves and other species who gain spellcasting that will increase at higher character levels. An elf spy at challenge rating 1 probably would know some of the spellcasting, while an elf spy master at challenge rating 10 probably would know all of the elf lineage spellcasting. In my approach, I assign some of these species traits starting at challenge rating 0, while other traits are reserved for higher challenge rating. The traits at challenge rating 0 include movement speed and movement type, perception type such as dark vision, and anything that seems inherently biological, such as a fey ancestry trait, an elf trance trait, or a halfling ability to fit into small spaces. For all of the other species traits, I reserve them for starting at challenge rating 1. For the spellcasting and other options that develop at character levels 3 and 5, I make these traits available for non-player character humanoids at challenge ratings 2 and 3. For the background traits and origin feats, generally I assign them for humanoids starting at challenge rating 2. This system works for me in my games. I encourage you to experiment toward finding the power level that feels suitable in your games. In the 2025 Monster Manual, the humanoids and many of the other creatures have been presented with variations at lower and higher challenge ratings. For instance, a regular bandit is at challenge rating 1/8. A bandit captain is at challenge rating 2. A bandit deceiver is at challenge rating 7. And a bandit crime lord is at challenge rating 11. If you are working with the statistics of bandits, then this range of challenge rating provides enough options for most encounter balance at different character levels. Many of the other humanoid categories, however, do not include so many options, such as a spy at challenge rating 1 and a spy master at challenge rating 10, with nothing between those extremes. The easiest way to solve this problem is to insert a different functional category along with the spies, such as one of the subtype options of a bandit, a pirate, or a cultist, at whatever challenge rating will be suitable. If you want to increase the challenge rating of a humanoid, then you can add the equivalent of a character feat, or more spellcasting. The Magic Initiate feat can be easy to apply and to manage. You might consider for a humanoid to be equipped with a special armor or a magic item that adds more power. Furthermore, a player character might be able to defeat this foe and claim the magic sword, shield, or staff. Another way to increase the challenge rating is to add animal companions or monsters as pets, guards, or mounts. Several options are in the Monster Manual. I often add giant toads, giant vultures, or wargs. For even more of a challenge, I might grant the Mounted Combatant feat. Wizards, some warlocks, and other spellcasters might be equipped with a specialized magical familiar, a phantom steed, or another summoned or conjured companion. One more way to increase a challenge rating is to add a feature that typically belongs to a different humanoid or another monster. I like to add the nimble escape of goblins, allowing to disengage or hide as a bonus action. In my view, this feature seems suitable for a bandit or for a scout. In most cases, I prefer to increase the power levels of the humanoids in the 2025 Monster Manual. I find that these statistics as written tend to hit lower than the intended challenge rating when using the 2024 Player's Handbook characters. Simply by adding the traits of a species, any humanoid in the 2025 Monster Manual can gain a little bit of power. Moreover, each individual humanoid can feel more like someone who lives within this game setting. What are your thoughts and experiences with modifying the humanoids in your games of Dungeons & Dragons? Please share in the comment section. As always, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.